Yeah,
careful.
I'm good, yes.
Dobrý deň. Welcome in my home city. Yeah?
Yes, welcome on my stage.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, I'm sitting like a stuck-up royal, but if I change my position, this must become very quickly very different kind of conference. So I have to sit like this. Dusan, it's good to have you here. When I came to Tatra 3 years ago, you literally were the face of the face biometry, literally. And I know that you also spoke about that solution here 3 years ago. So tell us what changed in the meantime.
Yeah, exactly. I'm working in for Tatra banka, which is the third largest bank in Slovakia.
Second.
Right now, even the second, yeah, but to be sure. And what is, you came a couple years ago, but I spent there really a lot of years. And in our nature is to focus on technology, innovation, and so on. And but of course, like innovation is now, it's trendy everywhere, but we started years ago. But I would like to emphasize one thing that, first of all, thanks to Jan Lunter, and because he actually is half of the presentation, I can just signed off about the biometry and statistics and so on. And I think for me, innovation is about to be brave enough, also on the management level, to go through something which is not true and false, which is the biometry. And we spent quite long years. It's on the slide that we started with biometry and written signatures in 2011. And then we had voice biometry. And finally, in 2018, we had a project with where the Innovatrics was one of the partners, and we implemented face biometry. And what is actually, I feel touched with the DOT, because in that time there was no DOT toolkit, but it was more or less actually one of the side effects of the project was that Innovatrics find out that, yeah, there is some necessity to have something like onboarding toolkit, so there is a DOT toolkit now. Because in the time we started, there was no document recognition provided by Innovatrics. Actually, when we really nearly went live, and Peter Martiš came and showed us that we have a new scanning of the document. Jesus Christ, like 2 weeks before going live, we are not able to replace it. Yeah? So this is something which happens quite often with Innovatrics, that you test something new and you find that some bug or issue, report it, and the response is, yes, it's fixed, a new version of SDK. Jesus Christ, you have to upgrade it again, yeah? But true is, every time it's better. But question is, we in 2018 we created onboarding for accounts and lending, but it was presented a couple of times today. It's never done. Yeah? For example, with the personal ID scan, we started, we had it, and then we ran, of course, some tests, UX tests with the colleagues that tracking with the camera where the people are looking, the customers, and the result was that you have too many texts on the screen with the instructions how to take the right scan of the ID, but I'm missing some information. Jesus Christ, what you can do with this kind of the result? So, in fact, we tried also a couple of times how to modify the screens, do some animation and so on. But on the end, the ultimate solution is mostly if you are able to provide some seamless experience. It was shown a couple of times here that you do it instead of the customer. You are not pushing customer to read some instructions, but to do it somehow else, like just show it and grab it instead of him. So this is one part. And what brings, of course, one of the new level of the challenges was that we started in 18 with a mobile application, because for daily banking, onboarding, it makes sense to have mobile application. If you end up with a mobile application, you want to do it daily banking. But to integrate this to some longer processes, like, for example, retail financing, e-shops, and so on, or for lending, we found out there is obstacle that you don't want to download the application if it's small, and we try to keep it small. It was one of our requirements. Yeah, thanks. That you don't want to download the application to start the onboarding. So we upgraded the whole solution, also with Innovatrics, to be just browser-based. Yeah, it works on mobile devices, but also on the desktops and tablets, any devices, and you don't need to download anything. But of course, you have new level of the challenges because you start with some pointing out instructions on the mobile device, but when there is no device, there could be many devices. Definitely, you can have camera in top of your TV. And just instruct someone to modify the position of the camera in this case. So, and it was also mentioned a couple of times here that one of the major parts of the whole onboarding to make it comparable, secure with onboarding on the branch, for example, is liveness, because face detection is on the end also based our experience better than the person on the branch, because it's not just about the identical twins, but different nations and similar people and all the ideas that the neural network is better than the person, but person is better in the recognition that it's a live person. Yeah. So, and you have to combine it together, and on the end you have something like in similar. And liveness is key part. And of course, we started with before the dot was there, this circle running around the picture on the screen. Now we live with the picture, with the dot, but of course we have the same experience as Innovatrics with the real life experiences. Plus, it's visible liveness, which means it's open for the fraudsters because they know what they have to fulfill. So if we have something which is on background, which is not so visible, and we don't shout to the world that what we are testing, then it's on the end secure, and the throughput is higher. Yeah? We implemented the new SDK in May, I think. Yeah, in May, in the version from May. And we now can easily see the change in the funnels, increase on the throughput.
So for a long time, this was a question of being innovation frontrunner and having something, and maybe security. But then the pandemic strikes, and suddenly it's not just nice to have, it's not just innovations, it's people literally cannot physically come into branches. So then suddenly it switches from something nice to have, innovative, into something that's absolute necessity. How did that go?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everyone experienced that. And for us, it was absolutely lucky to have something like this. Like we started the company homeworking tests, pilots year before my pandemic, and then suddenly we had it also with this, because we found out it's not only for the onboarding of the new customers, but it's also for the servicing, and the people they need to do some changes, or they're replacing the personal IDs or personal data, and we used to have operations bind to the branch. Now we were able to convert it to digital, or for remote assistance without the call center, maybe without voice biometric if it's not available, and replace this kind of the cases also using this approach. So, and we see really demanding demand from the customers for digital servicing, not only for onboarding and purchasing products, but also to do some changes and avoid travel somewhere.
So you're talking about the customer actually asking for it themselves. What were the challenges, though, because there's always also challenges. How much of the onboarding do we now process online, if we know, through biometrics, or do we know how used it is and welcomed by the customer?
Obviously, it depends on the customer segment. For students, it's absolute majority of the students opening accounts online. But for us, it's actually double digits in percentage of all the PI and now also not just PI segment, but also small entrepreneurs. We are opening digitally, but we were also able to implement it on the branches. So it's actually easier to go through the digital or on your device in the branch and then to fill up some forms on the branch. So we are using it even on the branches as a simplification of the process.
Mm-hmm. I don't want to completely cut you off. I know you still have things coming, so...
No, just a final word, which I like as a quotation from McLuhan, that it's never done, yeah? So what was revolution yesterday, it's commodity today, yeah? So
right.
And what is important is that it's not about the technology, but the whole environment and processes around. Like if we are pushing the digital onboarding on the branches, we have a lot of information and experiences coming from the branches. Like Innovatrics has information from the customer partners, we have from the people working with the customers. And for us, it was, for example, even an option, this web toolkit, to create a new service for our potential partners. Like we as a bank, we will provide Biometric as a service, which will be onboarding service for the companies who need to do some onboarding, but they don't want to implement their own solution, plus the business and compliance stuff around.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I'll jump to Slido for a little second. After 4 years of experience, what surprised you in positive and or negative way regarding the adoption of biometric onboarding?
For me, the largest relief was that as I was business owner of the project, was that in fact it works and there were no major frauds, like there were no frauds in the time, and because I had problem to sleep when we started, yeah? And it was for me the fantastic relief that really it just works. Yeah? And
so you're sleeping well now?
Yeah, definitely.
You look like
better.
You're sleeping well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Thanks. I don't need to moderate, this conference. I'm just participant. And negative means that it's not about the biometry itself, but legal stuff around. Because what is on the presentation is not the whole stuff you have to implement because of the legal, not just GDPR, but compliance, anti-money laundering, everything, which makes it more complicated. So once we will find out how to make this UX more sexy, maybe together, then it will be even easier to go through that. So the biometry itself, we found out it's really straightforward, and I could say that this handwritten signature is definitely it's more obstacle than the face, because with the hand signature you don't remember how it was 2 years ago and so on. Yeah? So there is of course some threshold and so on.
Yeah, we had some high-profile legal cases in Slovakia with changing signatures. But so you talked a lot about how when we started implementing the biometrics, really Tatra was a pioneer in a certain sense, because the toolbox didn't exist in a form as it does today. So we were coming at an age where there was very little infrastructure that we can kind of lay back on, and I mean globally in the country. How special was that, and how much tougher was that than today, maybe keeping up with what's going on?
Well,
what made that special?
Yeah, in that time it was something like convincing everyone that it's possible. Right? It was the major part, because from technological point of view, you have a lot of projects where you need to combine different company software products, integrated and so on. In this case, it was the most important to convince everybody, starting from National Bank and different regulatory bodies to the internal different colleagues, architects, experts, that it's really possible to make it working. Mm-hmm.
It seems like it's similar when we talked with Jose, that if you have the core good, then doing the spin-offs, the same as you said, from mobile to desktop, is much easier. Are we looking at some spin-offs in the soon future, or what are we doing with the biometric technology in Tatra soon?
Yeah, exactly. I would say that if we have something like working prototype right now, it would be much easier to convince a lot of people that it really works, because you can show it. And as I said, Biometric as a service is something which we are now starting to offer as our API. We have lending API, which is consumer lending, where we included the biometry. So it's open also for new-to-bank clients. And we are able to provide it as an offer and combine it with the e-shops and partners. Mm-hmm. So our idea is we have some, for mortgages, some co-debtor, so identification. So put it into the various use cases, whether it's existing client and they lost some access to some security stuff, or a new to bank clients and they want to discuss something with us, either digitally or over the phone, and allow them to complete the process.
How hard is it to persuade people inside the company to adopt the new technologies from the outside? You know, like a person in the branch, because I know that this actually is something that we use in the branches now. It's not just something that we use at home for somebody. How tough was it, and where it's going?
You know, it's a change like anything else. That the good examples are probably the best. You roll it out, and then we were able to find out a couple of colleagues working, I don't know, on Square in Košice, eastern part of Slovakia in the city, and the lady was able to do the 20 onboardings per day instead of 2, which was done, I don't know, in Chopin here. So based on those experiences, you can just spread it out.
So it's the success stories that sell it also in-house. Yeah. Okay, good. Dusan, it was really interesting to talk to you in a very different stage now. Thank you, and thank you for bringing the case.
Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the presentation.